Hey, welcome to Rin Ramblings. I'm Erin. I'm hanging out in my wrestling corner. I got my Bailey shirt on. You know what that means. We're going to talk some wrestling. First, let's take care of a little bit of business here at Rin Ramblings. I am going to start to release some weekly content. I think it will mostly consist of what I'm going to do today. I think it's going to be some highlights of the shows, more than likely Raw and SmackDown. We may also try to get some NXT and AEW in there as I watch it. I do watch AEW. I do not watch it as consistently. So with that said, you can give me a follow. It's at RinHeelLove on both Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. Let's get started with some highlights from this week. I think one of the biggest stories that we have to talk about is Liv, Dom, Damian, and Rhea, and the rest of the Judgment Day, who are kind of taking a backseat here, but not really. Rhea and Damian have really kind of slid into babyface roles kind of organically. Damian's kind of happened during his World Championship reign, which really solidified him as kind of a top guy in the company too. He's getting pop after pop after pop, and it's great to see. Rhea, before her injury, was more over than any other woman in the division anyway. So it's been a lot of fun to see them work together. I need the Terror Twins merchandise, WWE, if you're listening. Terror Twins merchandise. Dom and Liv, for what it's worth, playing the role of super annoying bad guys. It's been wonderful. Liv's revenge tour has been super fun to see. I like the direction she took her character, and I love Dominic. I love that Dominic was a heel that turned more heel. I didn't know that was possible. He was already getting booed out of arenas, and now it's quadrupled. It's super cool. I'm enjoying watching it. Even the romance aspect of it, which I don't love in wrestling generally in storytelling, has been a lot of fun to watch. Rhea's promos since she has returned, top notch. Her line last night about Dom stabbing her in the back but it not being deep enough was just perfection. Just the right amount of like in your face kind of innuendo that I kind of love to see. Quickly back to Dominic, who is playing the role of man-child super well. Liv gives him his tendies and lets him play all the video games he wants and treats him like a man when he's not acting like a man. It's really just delightful, and I'm enjoying kind of all of it. I wasn't sure about it. I especially wasn't sure about the Judgment Day fracturing in this way, because I'm a fan of the Judgment Day, but I like the direction that we've gone. And I like that we kept kind of everybody else in the Judgment Day in the Judgment Day. Nobody else fractured off. And now they are claiming that they have no leader, that Damian was trying to be the leader, when it's very clear that that's what Finn is doing now. Backstabber Balor, which I also need merchandise for, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. New Judgment Day, they have no egos and no leaders. What do they think? Who do they think they are kidding? No one. Especially with Backstabber Balor saying he's a backstabber. The rest of the group just going to trust him. Sure, okay. Sounds like a plan, guys. Also, highlight of Raw, or one of the big highlights of Raw for me this week, was Rhea being in the ring, Dom and Liv being in the crowd, and Damian just popping up behind them towards the end of that promo. That got a nice pop out of me sitting at home. Really fun to see. I'm excited to see what comes next. I'm excited for this match, kind of mixed tag match at Bash at Berlin. We'll see where we go from here. Let's talk a little bit about the World Heavyweight Championship and Gunther, who is set to face Randy Orton at Bash at Berlin. WWE really said, who cares about this draft? And here we have Randy Orton from SmackDown over on Raw challenging for the Raw Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not mad about it. This match will be a lot of fun, and they used the King of the Ring mishap with Randy kind of having his shoulder up during that Gunther-Randy match in the tournament to justify why Randy is here from SmackDown to challenge for the title. Gunther has come out and delivered some really good promos since winning the championship. I was worried. I like him a lot. I was just a little bit worried that it would get boring quickly. I wasn't sure who he was going to challenge and how he would play off of those challenges, but so far so good, and I am enjoying what he's done out there. This week during Randy and Gunther's promo, we got Drew McIntyre interrupting, and then CM Punk interrupting, which it just seems like if Drew's in a segment, Punk is going to be in a segment, vice versa. That's how this has been working over the last few months with this build. Drew still has Punk's bracelet, although they did a very nice job of Punk explaining that it's not just about the bracelet, it's about the meaning behind the bracelet. It has his wife's, his dog's name on it. He doesn't want Drew McIntyre to be speaking about his wife and dog. I get it, my dude. Good on you. Defend your family. And Drew just feels like he's been wronged by everybody for basically years in the WWE. So he's justified in his thinking. Maybe. We'll see. I think they're both kind of hypocrites. But here we are. Since we didn't talk about last week on Raw, this confrontation kind of came out of last week's confrontation, which saw Punk in the ring, Seth interrupting, who, by the way, I think was dressed as Hangman Adam Page. I'm not sure if that's what he was going for, but it was the first thing I thought of. Could not unsee it. And whether it was intentional or not, perfection. Who then comes out through the audience, kind of taunts them both, but is basically just trying to goad CM Punk into taking off after him, which he eventually does. Clearly does not catch up to him. Drew ends up being escorted out of the building, and that's kind of where that ended. This week we saw Punk lie to say that he wasn't going to be there, and then interrupt Drew while he was out there interrupting Gunther and Randy Orton, and try to beat on CM Punk, who ended up just beating on Drew McIntyre with Drew's own belt, and then alluding to potentially a strap match at Bash in Berlin. I assume that is maybe what we're getting. I am here for it. Give it to me. I want to see this feud go at least one more, if not to Bad Blood. It's on fire. It's great. They're both doing some of the best work of their career. And as somebody who was very unsure about CM Punk returning to WWE, which is a story for another day, I am kind of ecstatic to see him working so well, getting some great storyline stuff in, and everything seeming kind of peaceful. So I'm pumped to see a CM Punk run have some really fun story and meaning attached to it. This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm kind of hyped for him. Let's quickly go back to Seth Rollins for a minute, who, after he interrupted Punk and Punk ran off after Drew, was destroyed by Bronson Reed. Bronson has been begging Adam Pearce backstage to do anything with him, and decided to create his own opportunity. I can't say that I blame him, although I didn't think the destruction of Seth Rollins and then this week R-Truth was necessary. But what a fun segment. Those tsunamis are so cool to see. He's such a big dude to launch himself from the top rope and deliver those tsunamis 5, 6 in a row onto his opponents, effectively rendering them useless. It's one of those old school, just super heel segments that I really love, and the crowd was wild for it. They were ravenous for him to do more and more. They were asking for more, and you're talking about the heel in this scenario destroying the baby face. It was so fun to see. And it's played into Seth being off TV for however long he needs to be, and R-Truth being destroyed, and Miz being afraid to face Bronson. He was okay with facing Braun Breaker, but not Bronson. That, what a way to put Bronson over and create this super monster character. Also, Bronson's promo work after, just not caring that he killed Seth and R-Truth, and just taking what's his, and he doesn't care what destruction lies in his wake. Adam Pearce fining him, and Adam then saying in his video, "I'm fining him for what he did to Seth," and that Bronson Reed was going to appeal the fine. Bronson, sir, we were all there, either watching from home on TV or in front of or you were doing it in front of a live audience. Did you think we couldn't see you? You're going to appeal the fine? Jeez, the pop that gave me when Adam Pearce dropped that video this week was great. The segment that Michael Cole and Pat McAfee introduced of the physics lesson of the tsunamis and how much force was behind them, and that it was the weight of 2 small elephants and then 50 kangaroos. Kangaroos? Where did we get kangaroos? Is it because Bronson is Australian? Is that why we went with kangaroos? I'm so sorry that everybody is going to be beaten up by 50 kangaroos moving forward. It's great. I love it. I'm super entertained. I don't care if anybody else is. Kangaroos. Quickly, the last thing about Raw, we'll touch on Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn this week with the 2 out of 3 falls match. Solid match. Some of the spots that they did were great. That moonsault off the barricade where Bronson caught Sami and then power slammed him over the other barricade. Just incredible. They have great chemistry. It was so fun to see a 2 out of 3 falls match main event. Monday Night Raw. It was basically a PLE match on a Monday Night Raw. I love seeing Braun Breaker standing tall at the end of Monday Night Raw, which has happened a few times over the last couple of months. He's very clearly a big star for them. He deserves it. He's a super athlete. I love seeing a guy like Sami go up against him. Sami makes everything he touches, every match he's in, better, and he can only make somebody like Braun Breaker even better than he already is. It was so good, and I loved it. Touch on a couple of SmackDown highlights real quick. Cody Rhodes opens the show. The American Nightmare, our WWE, our undisputed WWE champion. Solo interrupts, demands a rematch. Cody says, "No, thank you, sir. You already had your chance," and that's not happening. And gives a championship opportunity to KO, who doesn't want it because he doesn't feel like he earned it, which I actually thought was a really cool plot point. He's a good guy. He doesn't feel like he's had enough wins to earn a championship match. Cody does. Cody kind of outdoes stubborn KO by going to the back and talking to Nick Aldis about it. Nick Aldis says, well, then he'll just have to give it to Roman Reigns, which sends KO right over the edge. He doesn't feel that Roman deserves it at all. He just got back. He lost it. What has he done to earn a championship spot? KO is not wrong there, but it inevitably leads to KO accepting the challenge. They'll put on a hell of a match. I'm excited to see it. Bash at Berlin card shaping up nicely here. And I just like to see KO get these kind of opportunities. He works his ass off, and he's earned a little bit of spotlight, especially since he's been dealing with the bloodline for essentially the past 5 years. I loved seeing the tag titles featured a little bit. We had the number 1 contenders matches between the Profits and A-Town Down, and then DIY and Pretty Deadly. I liked seeing the Profits get the win. I liked seeing DIY get the win. We'll see who ends up with the title shot next week. I just like seeing more tag teams featured. I feel like sometimes they focus a little too much on singles competition, and we lose Some really great tag team action, and I just like to see that featured on the show. Andrade went up against Santos Escobar. I anticipated this match would be really great. It was a really great match. Andrade is so solid in the ring. I know that I sing his praises in every video and every Twitter post that I write recently. I just think he is out there delivering week after week. He is solid in the ring. His promo work is good. I'm so happy to see him being featured prominently, getting wins, although he didn't get this one. He just always looks solid, and I hope that this push continues for him. He deserves to be featured prominently. He is championship material. Hands down, Andrade is championship material, and I just really want the push to continue. Enough about my love for Andrade. Let's talk a little bit about Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. I'm not going to acknowledge him as my tribal chief. However, he did come out and sort of just take it to Temu Bloodline. He definitely came out on top in the exchange. He didn't say anything. He wasn't out there to do any talking. He just came out and did a whole lot of Superman punches and spears and made Temu Bloodline look like Temu Bloodline. Crowds are loving him. The pops are insane. I cannot wait to see him reunited with his wise man, Paul Heyman, maybe someday in the near future. We will acknowledge our tribal chief. It will not be today. The last thing that we're going to talk about a little bit is back over at Raw and the Wyatt Six in-ring debut. That was masterful. From the debut location to the lantern sitting in the rocking chair to them coming out to shatter to the Wyatt Six looking like they were kind of gliding to the ring, super close together, which brought me right back to the Wyatt family years ago. It was beautiful to see. It was so good to see Eric Rowan back in a WWE ring. It was even better to see him pay tribute to Brody with the yeahs and the flip into the ring. I love everything that they're doing. I know it's been a slow burn. I know some people are a little thrown by the slow burn, but this is truly a masterpiece and just an insanely beautiful way to dedicate your art to your lost brothers. Bray Wyatt and Brody were so important to both WWE and AEW and the fans. It's almost cathartic for me to watch. As a fan who has spent a little bit of time grieving these losses from that perspective, I hope that Bo, Taylor, Eric, the rest of the locker room who really lost a brother, family, friend, are feeling the same. And that truly comes from the heart here. This is very much a fun wrestling storyline, but it is very much part of real life, and I love to see it. I love seeing it. What a tribute. I can't love it enough. All right, that'll do it for this week's edition of Rin Ramblings. I hope you have enjoyed me talking at you about all things wrestling. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you did. You can also follow me over on Instagram or X, formerly known as Twitter. My handle is @RinHeelLove. I do tend to tweet and post, especially on X, during both shows, so feel free to come over and join the discussion. And let me know your thoughts on any of the highlights this week, any of the stories that are going on in the wrestling world, anything that you want me to talk about, or things that you'd want me to do on this channel. The plan right now is to do weekly highlight videos with as much wrestling as I can, and then we'll add some other fun surprises in there. Predictions, maybe some other one-off type videos. We'll see what happens. But for now, stay weird, and I'll see you next time.